Hi there, this is Marieke. I am coming to you live from Le Coin du Ballet in Boisfort, Brussels, Belgium. Just kind of on the outskirts, as far from the city as you can get while still being in the city. So this is our little corner, or corner that we share. And the sun is actually out, so I thought I would kind of take advantage of this rare moment and visit with you and tell you a little bit about what I've been working on since coming to Belgium. I do many different things, and as many of you know, one of those pastimes, passion, ways that I feel like I can bring some empathy and positive energy into the world is through songwriting with people, mostly through their spoken words, but also through written words. And in the year plus that I've been volunteering at Petit Chateau, Fédiciel Asylum Center in Brussels with Sarah Van Hoof, who's a poet and welcomes me into the fold. We've been mostly writing poetry and then turning those words, lines, and phrases into songs in all different languages, which often comes with some really fun dialogue, debate, about interpretations. Translation is really challenging, and especially from these really just magical languages. I mean, Arabic has just such poetry and magic to it, and so then when you try to translate it into English, it just sounds kind of like it's been flattened. But we do what we can, and we have so many songs now because we meet for a couple hours every Monday afternoon, and we don't always write a song, and a lot of them aren't completely finished. But I think that even in their raw and finished form, maybe even more so in this kind of raw form, you can perhaps just get a sense of the emotion, the experiences that are being shared, the hope, etc. It's really interesting to me and inspiring how much hope and love is expressed in their words when, from just some of the stories I've heard, it could be a lot darker, some of these songs that come out. So I need to look at my screen here because I haven't memorized all the songs, but I've been working on a little Refugee Songbook. So I typed up several of the songs, and I thought I would share a few of them with you on this beautiful sunny morning. And starting with one of my favorites, which is called I Am a Word. And what we do is we hang up a big piece of just blank paper, like a huge piece of kind of butcher paper on the wall, and then people can write, whatever comes to mind. Sarah will often write a phrase from a poem to try to kind of just inspire maybe a theme, or just to kind of help, people reflect and maybe come up with some ideas, because a blank page can be kind of overwhelming, kind of daunting for anyone who's had to write a paper or create something out of nothing. So this song, I'm a Word, started with a gentleman just, I think, talking to our friend Mohammed in Arabic, and then Mohammed was working on translating into English. We worked on translating into French, but I'm just going to sing the English for you. I am a word of hope and love. I bring honor to the world. I will push the darkness away. Can I come to your house and stay? I am a word. I am the root of all resistance. I bring light for us to grow. I will push the sorrow away. Can I come to your heart and stay? I am a word. I am the life you've left behind, the path that you now follow, the melody of your song, the place you can belong. I am a word of hope and love. I bring honor to the world. I will push the darkness away. Can I come to your house and stay? I am the root of all resistance. I bring light for us to grow. I will push the sorrow away. Can I come to your house and say, I am a word? So that's one. We wrote some of it. Did we write? The other day it was kind of slow. And so Sarah worked on translating it into Nederland, which I'm not going to sing because my Nederland is not very good, / it's non-existent, and French. And it's always really interesting because, you know, Google Translate just does an injustice to some of the translations. So it's interesting to look at how, I don't know, I changed a lot of the words so it would sound a little bit more poetic in French, at least in my attempt. So that's one song. And how about, this is a really short one, and it's written in Dari and English. So there's really only one small verse, and, you know, which maybe is actually more of a chorus. A lot of the times, you know, in our 2 hours, we maybe have time to like write a verse or a chorus, and it's sort of just the beginnings. And you know, sometimes months later we come back and we keep working on the song, and sometimes it just kind of, you know, it is what it is. So right now this is what it is, but I could see doing more with it, which I think would be nice. इश्क तोर जिंदगी का राना इश्क चीज़ी आशका तो आजा मिली जो कतार को मैं निकोली why haman has English. Love is how you live. Love is what you do. You do something good, and that is love too. And that is love too. It's a really short one. But again, I mean, it's all about love. The first song that we wrote, one of my favorites, is called In Life There's Second Chances, you know, and the Never Give Up, which, you know, I remember being really just kind of amazed and inspired by, and, you know, continue to feel that way. So how about, this is a fun one that we wrote. Well, okay, so it was fun to write it, but at the same time, the part of the reason that we wrote it was that because we had a friend who had, he had been rejected, his third rejection from Belgium, and so he was kind of in that space of trying to decide what to do next. And at first he was thinking about going to Germany, and then finally I think he just got tired, and he said, that's enough, and he went back to Iraq. So it's really, I mean, it's just, you know, each time we're there, it seems there's someone who's just elated because they've been given this, you know, this positive from Belgium that they can stay, and then there's someone who's leaving. So it's a bittersweet, you know, experience. And I often just wonder what I mean, each of these people that we meet are just really just incredible beings, and regardless that, you know, it's a being, it's someone who's, you know, trying to escape from a life in order to, create a better one for themselves, for their children, for whoever. And I really don't know, very much about what goes into, how like the Belgian government, whoever they are, how they decide. But man, if they could spend a couple hours with us at songwriting on Monday, I think their decision would become even more difficult. Which maybe is a good thing. So this song is called Don't Wait, Create, and there's like a tiny bit of Spanish in it. So we had this whole discussion with a fellow who spoke Spanish and not English or any other languages. There was like a lot of gesticulating and like Google Translate and trying to figure out, he understood a lot of English. So if I kind of got an English word right, he was like, yes, yes. Okay, it's like warmer, warmer, colder, warmer, warmer, colder. So it's kind of, it's fun. Okay. How hard it is to love someone when you've been left behind. Atticus, get down. Hey, off, come on. Sorry, husky interruption. Try again. Life is always happening, right? How hard it is to love someone when you've been left behind. This is your life, don't let others live it for you. I have lived beautiful days and learned many things. I love good people and I love you very much. Don't wait, don't wait. Create, create. Don't wait, don't wait. Create, create. Hey, get down, down. Atticus, now. Hey. Quiero vivo como el mundo, alive in this world. Toda la vida en la momento. Quiero vivo como el mundo, alive in this world. Toda la vida en la momento. Don't wait, don't wait. Create, create, create. Don't wait, don't wait. Create, create, create. Some wait for life, some wait for hope, for opportunity. They don't live now, they don't seize the day. Don't wait for hope, don't wait for life, for opportunity. Live your life now, live for today. Don't wait, don't wait. Create, 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 create. Don't wait, don't wait. Create, 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 create. Don't wait. away. Hey, Mustafa, you helped write that song. I wish you were here singing with me, but maybe you're singing from where you're listening. I hope so. And again, it's just like, maybe, here, I mean, it seems that there's just so much limbo, especially for the folks that we meet each week at Petit Chateau. I mean, some people have been waiting there for years. They've left family members. We have a friend who hasn't seen his wife in almost 3 years, and he did just recently get approved to stay, which is fantastic and amazing. But then he still has to wait, I think, another year before he can get the okay for his wife to join him. So, puts in perspective, long distance relationship that I had with my own husband, where we could see each other every few months. I mean, we had the means, we were able to take time off of work, just, I can't imagine. So, yeah, there's a lot going on there. I like this one. It's like super not finished, but it's really fun. And I started writing it with a woman from Palestine who she and her family are able to stay here in Belgium, and they're no longer at the center. So they kind of moved on, creating their new life here. So I started writing it with her, and then some folks came who spoke French. I mean, she was speaking English, so it's in English, it's in French, but it's kind of fun. I think they're all fun, but I'm obviously like super biased. We'll see if it speaks to you. So it's tentatively called Let's Dance in the Rain. I'm going to see if I can make this a little bit smaller so I can see all the words, but here we go. We are waiting for a new life. We are searching for some hope. We are living under the same sky with a different view where I can find you. The maker of smiles, take me from the dark to be with you. Let's dance in the rain. Let's dance in the rain. Nous attendons une nouvelle vie. Nous cherchons un peu d'espoir. Nous vivons sous le même ciel avec une vue différente. Je peux te trouver, me faire heureux sourire. Prends-moi dans tes bras, être avec toi. Allons danser sous la pluie, la vie est courte. Prends-moi avec toi. Allons danser sous la pluie, la vie est courte. Prends-moi avec toi. We are waiting for a new life. We are searching for some hope. We are living under the same sky with a different view where I can find you. Atticus, the maker of smiles, take me from the dark to be with you. Let's dance in the rain, Life is short, take me with you. Let's dance in the rain, life would sure take me with you, with you. Something like that. My favorite yoga teacher always says, he like does a demonstration of this like insane asana, and he's like, something like that. Sure, we all say. So this is this next one is a piece that I call "I Want a Peaceful Life," which doesn't always involve having a husky. How about we put these pieces of wood somewhere else? You have plenty of other things to play with. And I wrote it during Women's Month with a woman who's from Macedonia. Hey, and she traveled to all these different countries, you know, being rejected from one after another, and picking up with her three little boys. She had three little boys, one who was in a stroller. And, you know, she told me that, I mean, it was like, I didn't speak any Netherlands, and she speaks Netherlands, but no English or French. And the intern that was kind of helping us translate was also doing coloring with her three little boys so that she could write music. Atticus, I need my sock. Leave it. Thank you. And, you know, I have trouble with like one dog, so I can't really imagine three little boys. Atticus, no, stop. There we go. So part of the song comes from, you know, from her story, and then I wrote the verses just from, you know, stories that have been shared with me and people at the center. So it's this idea of wanting a peaceful life for ourselves and for our children, which I think, you know, is a universal. You know, even if the verses communicate experiences, hey, that are different. I'm gonna have to leave you soon here because I think it's time to go for a walk in the forest for Puppy. Okay. Maybe if I just start playing music, it'll be like Husky Whisperer. Or you might just hear him chewing on some wood. I want a peaceful life for my children. I want a peaceful life for myself. No more change, no more stress, no more moving around. I want a peaceful life. I want a peaceful life. I crossed an ocean to get here. 500 other people. I lost 20 of my friends, but somehow I survived. Now I'm here, far from the life I've known, but I'll never give up hope. I want a peaceful life for my children. I want a peaceful life for myself. No more change, no more stress, no more moving around. I want a peaceful life. I want a peaceful life. I fell in love with a man, went against my family. So I left home, and I've been moving ever since. Lived on the streets, my 3 little boys and me. I'm tired of being unhappy. I want a peaceful life for my children. I want a peaceful life for myself. No more change, no more more stress, no more moving around. I want a peaceful life. I want a peaceful life. Came here alone. I left my mother and my aunt living at the center for 2 months and a day. Want them to join me, but they're afraid. But they're afraid of what they don't know. I'm tired of being here alone. I want a peaceful life for my children. I want a peaceful life for myself. No more change, no more stress, no more moving around. I want a peaceful life. I want a peaceful life. Atticus. Hey, Atticus, come on, down. Let's go. Come on. Let's go down. Good job. All right. Well, I was thinking that I would play some more songs, but it looks like maybe Atticus is just about ready for me to take him out for a wander in the woods. Maybe I can find one more short one. There's one that's that we wrote with a friend of ours who, when we wrote the song, he still wasn't certain if he'd be able to stay, in Belgium, and I think that the verses reflect that. And what's really neat is that now each time we play it, we can say, well, he does get to stay because he was granted asylum in Belgium. And I have Nederland and French translations, so I'll do my best, Sarah, as I go to Nederland person, because she moved to Belgium 34 years ago and married a really lovely Belgian man, and so she speaks Nederland, and I one of those U.S. Americans that can barely speak one language, but I'm doing my best with 2. So this is called I Am the Change, and it's in English, it's in Arabic, and then there's a wee bit of Nederland and French, Français at the end. I am the change. I am the change. Together we are the change. Ana atarea. Ana atarea. Sawiyan. Atarea. Atticus, no. Atarea. So that was Arabic for I am the change. Together we are the change. Can I do just a couple more verses, kiddo? To change my life. Hey. This is special. A very professional video. Let's see if I can I'll put it up a little higher so I can stand up and see if I can get through the last of this song with you guys. All right, dog. To change my life, I'm coming here. It's hard to change, but we have to change. We can share what we have. We can start a new life. We can start anew. I am the change. I am the change. Together we are the change. Ana atarea. Ana atarea. Sawian Nataria Nataria. Came here to find humanity, but they forgot about me. This life belongs to those who care. We can start all over. We can go from here. I am the change. I am the change. Together, we are the change. Ana Atarea. Ana Atarea. Sawian Nataria. Ich bin de verandering. Ik ben de verandering. Samen. We zijn de verandering. Je ferai la change. Je serai la change. Tous ensemble, nous changerons. Last time I am the change. I am the change. Together, we are the change. Ana Atarea, Ana Atarea. Sawian Nataria Nataria. So thank you for listening now or maybe later, and maybe even joining and singing along. I think the most important thing about these songs really is, well, there's no one most important thing really. It's whatever it means for each person who writes it, who listens to it, who sings along. But I think there is an importance in sharing the songs. It's important to write them. It's important for a person to have their story be heard, so they know, because it's not evident to all of us that we're valuable just for being who we are. And it's important, I think, to go through the creative process to realize that we are each artists and we each have stories and life experiences that can be beautiful songs. There's no person that does not have a beautiful voice or a beautiful story that couldn't be a song. It's all just like an ocean of possibility. And I think especially because we live in this time where fear can so easily take hold, and it seems like there are people, for whatever reason, maybe their own fear, that want fear to take hold and want us to feel alienated from other people who are different. I think it's important to share these songs because they communicate, at least I hope, that regardless of what we've experienced, there is solidarity among us. And the idea behind the choruses of these songs is to find a universal concept, like I want a peaceful life for my children and myself, which is something that universally people, I think, do hope for, whether or not they have children. And then they may hope for it for others, but they're we want peace, we want to be loved, we want to be valued. And I think that sharing these songs, perhaps my hope is that it might build some solidarity and some empathy and understanding of others. So whatever it means for you, I'm really honored and grateful that you're out there listening. And I wish you a beautiful day and a wonderful weekend. And I'll visit again soon. Shukran. Thank you. Merci. Dankjewel. Ciao.